everybody, I'm Terry with the Drone Cab. It's a special quarantine edition of our video today. So anyway, I'm going to kind of make this one sort of a short little video I've been talking about for a while, talking about ND filters and what those are. But first off, I want to say I hope everybody out there is being safe, taking care, social distancing, all the stuff we're supposed to be doing, washing your hands and all that stuff, so we can get past all this stuff as quickly as possible and as safely as possible. And the other thing, if you haven't heard, and I'm shocked if you haven't heard because it's been all over online, all over social media, it's being talked about everywhere. Even the birds are singing about it. DEF CON 1 this weekend. Romero Pictures is hosting the first of its kind, the only one of these you will see in the world. With all the conventions and the cons being rescheduled, canceled, postponed, moved around, whatever, you know, it's really left a big void for the fans, for the artists, because everybody looks forward to these things. Plus, you know, you got to think about, there are cons in other cities, other states that you just can't get to. Well, what's the best solution? And in these times, the best, safest way is to keep that distance. Do it online. So DEF CON 1 is a virtual online con. It's going to be Saturday and Sunday, March 28th and 29th. Amazing guests on the 28th. You won't believe the celebs we have for the 28th. The 29th is filled with panels. Blair Witch Project, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Joe Castro, a bunch of them. Even I'm doing a panel on there. I'll take your questions, talk about drones. Hey, throw me your questions. It's going to be kind of like a mini mentoring session. Whatever. We're going to talk about how to get you up in the air, flying, doing aerial cinema, nice, quick, and easy, and kind of the fundamentals getting you off the ground. So anyway, it's going to be a lot of good information, a lot of fun stuff. You're going to be able to, with the ticket purchase, you're going to be able to pick a celebrity to speak to for a minute or two. You're going to get a screenshot of them with you on the screen as your virtual souvenir. Of course, we're being virtual. It's not the same as walking up and shaking hands, but hey, it's what you can do. But anyway, it's going to be a really cool event. So I want to get a little plug in for that. We've been putting a lot of work into it to bring the community together. And I also want to just finish up with the proceeds are going toward the Veterans Compound, which is our nonprofit, to help our veterans find a place in the indie film industry through education, training, and resources, ending with the production of a full film. So it's got a lot of good legs under it. It's a win-win-win for everybody. As an audience, you have fun. The artists can talk to their fans. You're going to learn stuff in the panels, and the veterans are going to benefit. So anyway, it's just 20 bucks. Go to romeropictures.com, www.romeropictures.com. Get you a ticket and just do it. I mean, it's 20 bucks. It's what you'd pay to rent a movie. Anyway, sorry, off the soapbox now. ND filters. ND filters, there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of weird information, a lot of stuff. You'll find a million opinions if you look around online. But what we're going to talk about is the main use for them as it applies to drone cinematography, and a lot of cinematography for that matter. They're not, believe it or not, we don't use them to do things like saturate your image, to be able to point the drone right into bright sunlight and have it balance everything out. No, that's not why you would use an ND filter. ND stands for neutral density. So what we want to do is slow down that shutter for motion blur. Now, if you're familiar with what motion blur is, you already know. But if you aren't not familiar with motion blur, is think of it in these terms. In the real world, when you see things moving, you see things in motion. It could be a dog running down the street. It could be a plane flying, a motorcycle buzzing past you on the street. When you see that, do you see it in nice little choppy still frames, or do you see like this kind of a blur? It kind of moves past. I mean, you hear people say all the time, "Oh, it was a blur. It just flew past me, like a frisbee flying by your face." You don't see it. You're not able to read the label. You don't see all this detail. You see motion. So that's what motion blur is, and that's what really makes the difference in a cinematic image and something kind of choppy. Now, most popular drones now have a fixed aperture. Now, there are some higher-end drones that do have an adjustable aperture. The problem is you don't have the control over that aperture, so you have to have a way to slow down that shutter speed to match your frame rate, or to work with your frame rate. The rule of thumb is the rule of 180. Your frame rate should be half of what your shutter speed is. So if you're shooting at 30 frames per second, you want a 60 shutter speed. So to do that without an ND filter, without blowing out your image and overexposing it, you're going to have to really crank that shutter speed up, and I mean way high. So that's going to make your image just kind of have that unnatural feel. It's going to be sort of choppy, and particularly if you're going to slow it down in post, it's just going to jump out all the more. So you need a really nice tool to allow you to slow down or minimize the, not necessarily slow down, but minimize the light hitting the sensor on the drone's camera. Now, got kind of close here. On the front of the camera, you can kind of see a little thing on the end there. It spins off. I'm not going to take it off right now. That's just a clear lens filter that's built into the camera on my Autel Evo. ND filters typically come in a little set like this. This is from a company, Freewell, makes some pretty nice ND filters. They are graded in numbers, and the number typically doubles, starting, I don't know if you can see the labels, ND4, ND8, ND16, and so on, increasing in strength as the number goes up. So what that does is, it's sort of obvious, in brighter light you would use a stronger ND filter. Now, an ND filter is a really simple little tool. It's just a opaque, semi-opaque piece of glass that has some tint to it that will minimize or lessen the light coming into the sensor. So it's going to give you that control to slow that, adjust your shutter speed. Now, some ND filters go a little bit further, which are pretty cool too. If you can see, it's kind of small, but trying to get up there for you. I'm rotating this outer ring. Some ND filters also come with a polarizer built in. Now that's really cool if you're shooting, say, something over water. Maybe you're filming a boat. So there you've got glare to fight with and motion of the boat. So something like that is pretty ideal, because that way you can get your polarizer adjusted to minimize your glare off the water, while also getting the motion just right to capture the boat in motion. Now, last thing I'll say about motion. With a drone, you're going to shoot a variety of things. You're going to shoot things moving, maybe a car, maybe, again, motorcycle, whatever, moving. But sometimes you're going to shoot things where the subject or something in the shot is not moving. The drone is moving. Say you're flying over a landscape, you're flying over trees or over mountains. There's no car, there's no motorcycle, there's nothing there that you're following. You're just getting that nice establishing shot or whatever over, say, a forest, over trees. Then you're going to pick up more motion around the periphery or around the edges of your shot. So that's where an ND filter can also help smooth that out some and get rid of some of that ratchety movement. I heard somebody refer to it once as like the Saving Private Ryan effect, which that was obviously an effect for that movie, the real staccato, choppy frames that worked well for that film. But if that's not what you're wanting, if you're wanting a smoother, more natural, more fluid feel to your film and to your shot, that's where you'd use an ND filter. So anyway, that's kind of a crash course for ND filters. They attach in a few different ways. The popular models like Mavics and all, they have different attachments. Some stick magnetically, some are pressed on. Be careful with those guys, because if you don't get it on quite right, it can throw the camera out of balance and it'll behave a little wonky. The Evo, it's another thing I like about the Evo. They are threaded, so they screw on, so there's no messing up. Just don't cross thread them, and it's kind of obvious. But just get them on there nice and snug. You know, when you're in the air, they're not going to be moving around. It's not going to fall off. And I've heard some things like that about magnetic filters. I'm shooting this on a DJI product called an Osmo Pocket. It's a little handheld gimbal camera, and we are using an ND32 filter right now. So, ta-da, surprise, surprise. You've been watching this through an ND filter right now. For the Osmo, they come in a little thing like this. These are magnetic filters. I have knocked these off pretty easily when I've been using my Osmo. So again, the magnetic filters, they're fine. They work just as long as you don't get too, bouncy, jostly, rough with them. They're going to be okay. The threaded ones are great. The press-on ones are pretty good. And so anyway, Crash Course in ND Filters. Any questions, give me a shout. Terry at blackdogdroneops.com. Always happy to chat. I'm also a mentor at the ND Brigade. You can go to romeropictures.com, click on ND Brigade. You'll drop down, see a list of mentors. We've got a lot of really good mentors in there. So we're all here to help. And again, if you're not doing anything this weekend, you're shut in. Supposedly everybody's staying in, social distancing and all that. If you're not quarantined or shut down, this is 8 hours each day of stuff. I mean, you've got a whole weekend full of content here. 20 bucks, 20 bucks. It's a great deal. I mean, it's a ton of entertainment, interaction with other like-minded people, and again, you're gonna come away with a lot. It's gonna be a really cool event. Again, we put a lot into it to really make it a good event, not just some slap together thing. It's really got legs under it. We're really stoked about it. And again, everybody stay safe, stay in, wash your hands, just all the obvious things. Take care, and we will see you soon. Bye.